Namaste. Good morning. I do look at other things, and I look at Quora. Quora is a thing that I read a lot. It's just an online forum. If you're not familiar with Quora, there's quite a few really good people there, and there's this kind of ongoing. Those who know don't say. It's kind of the caveat. So many people say that if you're enlightened, that you're not allowed, or you should never want to, or desire to, or talk at any point ever discuss this. And it's somebody, they come up with this blanket statement that those who know don't say. But sometimes I think those who know do say. My own personal experience was with Adyashanti many years ago when he was, I'm going to guess about 1993. I don't know, I have to go look my history, but he came to University of Hawaii at the East West Center, and he had been listed just recently that began Sangha to form a family and to teach the Dharma. And he started out by saying, I'm a fully awakened being. Okay. And that's how he began. And I was admiring his candor. And we talk about, I'll follow up with that. But what I want to do to say at this point is that I've kind of followed in his path in my own way, of course, but I've been willing to share with the caveat real strong to tell you again and again and again, this is my experience. I'm not speaking for anybody else. I'm not suggesting for anybody else. I'm not saying that I have any market or any corner on this process of waking. All I can do is share with you. And I've been very open. And Adyashanti, again, was a role model because all through his career, he's been willing to talk about his own experience and been willing to say that it's not shared, talk about abiding awakening, non-abiding awakening, temporary or impermanent versus permanent. And once you are awakened, once it's abiding awakening, a lasting awakening, you never go back. And he's been very candid. He said right up front that not many people are willing to share, but he feels that he's drawn to share in the hopes that it will help somebody else. And it certainly helped me. But I did what came naturally to me, as I always do, and that's I'm an open book, and I share. But right away, I have to say that sometimes there's nobody here is enlightened. Somebody's so sure nobody here is even a million miles close. And if you claim you're enlightened, you're not enlightened, and it's kind of fun. But what I want to say to you is that your message, keep your eyes open for your messenger. I've had a stranger walk by and just overheard a conversation that just was the words I needed to hear and just started that whole process for me. Another step in my own growth, my own personal growth. It's been as far-fetched as a commercial in the newspaper or television that just said something that sparked. So all I have to say is to you is be open to your messenger. Don't think that your messenger has to, from God's mouth to your ears. It doesn't always work that way. At least it hasn't for me. So I'm urging you to never rule out who could be your messenger. And so willing to listen, and then it's your process of what you do with it. But what I will say is that I never speak to anyone else awareness or awakening. But I do want to harken back to Adyashanti because it was cute. The girl that I was with, the young lady that I was with, dear friend, in a way, she was a soulmate. And she was quick to the microphone, and she started so cute. She says, well, I've never had an opportunity to speak to a awakened one, and I don't know where to begin. And he looked at her, he says, I'm no different than you are. So from the very beginning, even though he was saying that he was enlightened, he was recognizing the ordinariness of it, that it was a shared condition, that he was no different than my friend who was addressing him. I can't remember the question, but I can just remember her initial introduction and his response. It was so spontaneous and so perfect and so beautiful. So today's video is called To Share or Not, because it's been on my mind. And those of you that have been looking at me for some time, or just recently, you've seen that I'm more than happy to share what I can with my own personal experience. And not looking for validation. None is needed. I tell you, that's one thing I will say about awakening. You no longer need validation. If you're questioning, if you're not sure, if you have to ask somebody, well, you're not. That's one thing I will say. You're not. But when you know with this sincere certainty that of the oneness, there's no escaping it. You know. You know. And it doesn't matter. It matters little what anybody else might have to say about your state. To each his own. It's a free world. You're welcome to your expression. It won't make a difference. It won't make a dent in my day. Even if you said this guy's full of crap. My day would be just my day. My smile wouldn't change. I would smile to you and say namaste and bless you. And learn that this process that I've been practicing really with using the heart chakra, the green of the heart chakra, and talking about how unconditional love was just a given. It was so easy, but it's individuated. Love the individual. Love of the individual. That's been a struggle. It's not hard to love. It's not easy to love each and every one of us. Although each and every one of us, I do recognize, are deserving of my love, and it should be up to me. It's my work. This is what I'm working on, and it's really fun. Whenever I'm working on a project, it's fun to see what comes along with it, because something else comes along with it that usually turns out to be more significant than the particular thing that I might have been focusing on. It's more from unfocusing. Not directing my energies in a particular way allows maybe information to flow. But I always believe in this, information is a two-way street. Just like no teacher or guru should talk to someone else, you talk with, or more importantly, listen. 2 ears, 1 mouth, my favorite saying. So I make no claims for anybody else. I don't even have to claim my own personal awakening through the process, basic process of always surrendering. First and foremost, surrendering, listening, ruminating, meditating, chewing my cud, reflecting on things that I receive from the cosmos, things that I receive from as mundane, as I mentioned, as magazine or television or some random stranger. So I rate Quora and the people on Quora as a higher source of information than a random overhearing on the street or what a commercial on TV or maybe they know a little more about what they're talking about. And I can say that without judging them. So if you ask me, is he enlightened, is he enlightened? I don't know. And essentially, I don't care. It's not my business. It's not in my purview. We all will be. And where we are along the line is exactly where we need to be on the line. And we're all in the same remembering the forgotten, awakening to the now, embracing the oneness, surrendering to daily, constant. I'm in a constant state of surrender. Because maybe I know something, but I will surrender to the, be willing to change, entertain that I can listen to somebody else. So that's why I read Quora. I just recently, I chose this format. I love YouTube. I like to look at you, and I just feel good and comfortable, and this is all spontaneous. And I think when I listen back to I never had a script, words just kind of flow, and I've been really happy with the continuity, and that the way has developed. And my theme, even though I digress, I might have to come back. I come back to my theme, to share or not share. And so emphatically I come down on the side of sharing. And sharing, realizing full well that my audience may be one. But if I can reach one, if I can say one word or one comment or one observation that's helpful to even one person, that's a resounding success. I used to talk as a professor that my idea of being a successful professor, and I did think I was quite good and was popular. People liked me because I tried to make learning fun. I think it should be fun. Meditation should be fun. Life should be fun. Until it's not fun. And then the fun is coming again, and so don't fret. Just take what comes. But I remember saying that if 5 people remember one thing I said 10 years after I said it, how successful I'm. I give myself an A+ on for my teaching abilities and credentials. 5 people remember one thing that I said for 10 years. And I don't even care how inane it might seem. Well, that's my definition of success. So if one of you hears me out there, you're just important to me as 100,000. Or more important, because you're taking the time and the effort with your curiosity to listen, to share this time with me. So, in this spirit, I certainly won't suggest to anyone ever that they too should share. But it's never been I've never agreed with those who say don't know. And those who don't know, don't say. Even if someone doesn't know, there might be something of value, remember that. You never know where the nugget of wisdom, you never know in the jhana yoga tradition that I'm a part of, that I ended up a part of after my previous thing. It's Advaita Vedanta. It's basically the jhana yogic method. But they do caution the bhakti, the heart, the green, that if you rely on the mind and the intellect and this fine tool, that you do have to develop the heart, or at least come back and work on the heart. And I'm constantly working on the heart, because that's where everything really resides. The me that I'm trying to contact, the real me that I try to contact by focusing inward, resides in the heart. So I'd just like to say, don't be closed, don't be judgmental, be open, be willing to question, don't be sure of anything unless you're sure, such as your personal awakening. No doubts. No doubts. When you're awakened, you're awakened. But there's more awakened and more awakened. Never forget that. Stay humble. Stay open. There's no destiny. It's always the journey. The never-ending journey. And hopefully it's a journey predicated and full of love.